Lisa Salvatore here. Today we are talking about Mars, the god of war who is now beginning his next 2-year cycle in the sign of Libra as of October the 9th. Now, what this means for us personally is going to vary based upon our own unique horoscope, our own birth chart. I've also linked below my Mercury retrograde video through the signs. I've asked you to go by your rising sign for highest accuracy, but you can use your sun and moon if you feel so inclined to do so. You may find a nugget of wisdom in all 3 of those placements, but check that out, Mercury retrograde through the houses. Mercury is going to station direct mid-month around the 18th. So, we're still in it. So you can see how this has been playing out for you. If you've noticed anything, it'd be cool to track it back and see if anything has come up for you, or what the themes that you've been working on and working through, or what you've been reevaluating as Mercury retrograde prompts us to do. Let's just see if any of that has rung true for you so far. So if you have not checked that video out and would like to do so, it's linked below. Now, Mercury retrograde is going to be through the house that contains Libra in your chart. And that is significant because this next Mars cycle is also going to occur in the house that contains Libra, but it's a different energy. And so I wanted to do a separate video for that, for this Mars cycle that shifts on October the 9th. Let's first go back and talk about the significance of the Mars transits. So every 2 years, Mars lines up with the sun and begins a whole new cycle in a different sign. Now, we're just coming out of the Virgo cycle. As of October 9th, Mars will leave Virgo and shift into Libra. This is an energy that we feel a couple months out on either side as the planet is getting ready to shift into a new sign. So while Mars was in Virgo, which started in 2019, the themes of this two and a half year cycle have been about the Virgo ways, okay? The Virgo areas, what Virgo rules over. And Mars is, collectively speaking, Mars is where the energy has been going, where we've seen a lot of action and inaction in some cases. And Mars is also heroism, and it's also drive and force and military. There's so many different functions underneath the planet of Mars. But just to name a few, when Mars was in Virgo, the theme of the last 2 years has been centered around healthcare workers, hospitals, the systems in the hospitals. Also, let's not forget the pandemic that everybody experienced and how it shut things down, and how some people were forced to stop going into work, into their daily work routines, and had to work from home. There was a lot more centered around the healthcare system, obviously. And that was all while Mars was in Virgo. Now, here's the thing. Mars is the god of war. He is the fighter. He wants, to get things done and to accomplish everything and to bring things up to a higher order. And so when he's in Virgo, he's a fighter. Of course, he's always a fighter. But in Virgo, it's more like, I want to fight and make everything just right. I want to fight and give everything the proper structure. I want to fight and make sure that everybody's recognized for all of their good, because Mars is also the hero in astrology. He recognizes heroism. And he himself is a hero. He's a warrior. So when we say the god of war, it doesn't necessarily mean war so literally, but war in general. Like, what is war for us? Where do we battle ourselves? Where do we battle others? This is all Mars energy. So now Mars has shifted into, at the time of this video, he's still in Virgo, but he's just about getting ready to shift into Libra. And we've already seen on the grander scale how this could potentially play out over the next 2 to 2.5 years. We know that Mars is the fighter, and in the sign of Libra, Mars is in his detriment, meaning it's harder for him to access his will and his energy. But underneath it all, because Libra is a cardinal air sign, cardinal signs act, they move, okay? They initiate. Mars acts, Mars moves, Mars initiates. But in Libra, Mars, it's not as easy. There's more friction there. There's more to contend with. There's more to fight up against. And when you think about everything that Libra represents, Libra is the sign of the legal system. It is a sign of order, justice, equality, hearing everybody out. Everybody has a voice, taking to the streets, protesting, but all of this to be said, it's going to be contentious because, again, Mars in Libra gets thwarted. His efforts get thwarted. It takes a little bit more work to integrate that feeling of justice and equality. Now, let's also not forget we're dealing with tumultuous energy anyway. We've still got, on the exact day that Mars is going to shift into Libra, we've got that Eris-Pluto square, the fifth and final Eris-Pluto square of 2021. Eris is the goddess of discord who takes out to the street and wants everyone to be heard and wants to fight for equality and justice for all. And Pluto is the god of the underworld who serves to bring things up from the trenches for ultimate renewal and rebirth. So this can be very positive, of course, but again, there's going to be some stuff to contend with and some stuff to go through. But remember, on the higher scale, Mars in Libra in general is a sign that wants to have equality and balance and harmony at all costs. It's just, to get to that is going to take quite a bit of work. Now that's the collective scale. Also, Libra rules over, foreign commerce, trade, import, export, alliances and contracts of all kinds, not just, relationships, absolutely, but this could be business partnerships. This is one-on-one partnerships, business partnerships, marriages, because marriage is a contract. Anything that you have where you form an alliance with someone, this is all under Libra. It's not just like personal romantic relationships, it's all relationships. So the way in which we have a balance within receiving and giving with others, whether it's goods, whether it's services, whether it's product, all of that can come up into higher view under this next 2 to 2.5 year cycle, with the ultimate end game to help you to get it right, to get it equal, to get it balanced. So if you can remember that underneath it all, the good that can come after this time period, I think that that's very important because, again, I don't watch mainstream media, but I obviously have friends who will text me and I see things pop up when I'm on social media or whatnot about what's going on around the world. And every day it's something new. And, where protests have been peaceful, we're seeing they're not being so peaceful anymore. And again, this could be that Mars and Libra shift. There also could be an increase in what we see with the legal systems. Mars, who's the hero, when Mars was in Virgo, the heroes were the healthcare workers. Mars is now in Libra. So, the heroes could be the people of the legal system. The heroes could be military. Mars is the military. Mars is the police. Again, a lot of issues around equality within those realms, within those jobs, within law enforcement. All of this is coming up for review, for scrutiny. It's the time that we are living under. Think of this cycle as a complete recalibration. The sun is the center of everything. It's the spirit. The planet of Mars is action. It's the principle of action. And then Mercury is our mind and our thoughts. It's how we think. So with these three lining up, the cycle kicks off and it's like what we desire, what we want, what we think is lining up with our force and the way we're going to go about getting it. Instant manifestation is very, very strong right now. The powers of manifestation are very, very strong as the collective, as a whole, personally. So it's very important, as I've been saying for months, watch your words, watch your thoughts, watch your actions, because what you're thinking and jiving with and vibing on, that can become your reality real quick. So you want to keep that clear and concise and conducive to what it is that you want to attract and bring into your life, not what you don't want. Don't focus so much on what you don't want, because that can actually bring that in faster. Remember, where your attention goes is where the energy flows, right? So we want to make sure we're keeping that in the highest vibration possible so that we can bring in what it is that we really want and what's really conducive for us on a personal level. A wonderful way to work with this triple conjunction for the good, for positive results, is the night of the new moon, or right leading up to that October 9th date of the triple conjunction. The new moon falls on October the 6th. I linked that one video below as well, if you want to go back and listen to that. But with that energy, what you can do is, new moons bring in the new. It's the point of the lunar cycle where everything is fresh and it's an auspicious time. And it's a time that we want to get clear on what it is that we envision for ourselves, for our future, to bring in something that we'd like to start. It's positive, fresh energy of intention. So with this triple conjunction of the Sun, Mercury, and Mars coming up only a few days after the new moon in Libra on the 6th, it's probably a great time to do some sort of a manifestation ritual, even if you've never done one before. Again, remember, words have power. Write them down, go outside, light a candle or inside, whatever you want to do, and just be by yourself, be centered, take out your journal or your notebook, whatever, and just start writing down what it is that you want to bring into your life, what you'd like to start for yourself. It doesn't have to be this huge, crazy list. It could simply just be, I want to start a new exercise routine. I want to stop eating sugar. I want to get a new home by the time, whatever it is for you, it's going to be very personal. And then also don't forget, as you listen to your sign, you're going to probably get more of a push about what it is that is in the back of your mind that you would like to implement, that you would like to manifest. So again, work with that new moon energy because it can be very, very positive when it comes to this triple conjunction. One more thing worth mentioning are the nodes of fate, or the South Node and the North Node, which are considered to be the nodes of destiny. Now, we all have a North-South node in our charts, but I'm speaking about more on the collective level. So collectively speaking, the nodes of the moon, which are in Gemini and Sagittarius, they shifted. See, the nodes of the moon actually moved backwards. So for example, in May of 2020, the nodes shifted into Gemini, the North Node, and Sagittarius, the South Node. Gemini and Sagittarius are the opposite signs to each other. So Gemini in the North Node, Sagittarius in the South Node. That's collectively speaking. Now, what that means is that the themes of Gemini and Sagittarius come into high focus under that 2-year span, that 2-year cycle of the nodal shifting taking place. So while in Gemini and Sagittarius, which we still are until January of 2022, while in Gemini and Sagittarius, the bottom line is truth, because both Gemini and Sagittarius rule over truth, seeking the truth. They go about it in different ways, but it's all about knowledge and information and higher learning, higher order, truth. That's all under the domain of Sagittarius and Gemini. Gemini being the North Node. The North Node is the karmic calling of, this is the future. This is where we're going. The South Node represents behaviors that could keep us stuck in the past. This is past lives, if you believe in that. This is the past. These are conditions that will be released. The South Node is all about release, and the North Node is all about increase. So keep that in mind as we're speaking about this. Now, I pulled up the chart for the time of this Sun, Mars, Mercury triple conjunction because, again, it starts a new cycle. So whatever's going on around this conjunction, planetary-wise, also will have an impact or an influence on future events or potential future events. I found it interesting that at the time of this triple conjunction, Venus will be in Sagittarius in the 2nd house of the world chart, and Gemini will be in the North Node in Gemini is actually going to be in the 8th house of Scorpio, which is the 8th house. Okay, so both the 2nd and the 8th house deal with money. They deal with finances. The 2nd house is more of like the, it rules over the world finances and resources, but also our own personal finances and resources. It is the house ruled by Taurus. And Taurus is a sign of possessions and material things and what we have and what we own, and it's our money, how we make money. And so Venus will be in the 2nd house of Taurus at the time of this new cycle kicking off of Mars and Libra. And the North Node will be in Gemini in the 8th house. Now, trining, it's an exact trine. It'll be trining Venus in Sagittarius. Now, the North Node in Gemini, in the 8th house. The 8th house is the natural house of money as well, except the difference is where the 2nd house is our money, the 8th house is other people's money. The 8th house is ruled by Scorpio. And this is the house of other people's money, resources, wills, trusts, and estates, taxes, death falls under the 8th house. So all of these deeper matters, and this is where the North Node in Gemini is at the time of this kickoff of this new Mars cycle. And I find that very interesting because we have been hearing on the global scale a lot about the financial systems. There are things coming up around that. I know for a fact from the people that I'm working with that a lot of people are handling their money differently. Looking at where they're putting it, looking at where they're, if they're taking it out, if they're trading, whatever it is that they're doing. Also a big theme, wills, trusts, and estates. Whereas before, maybe it wasn't so serious, but now people are getting very invested, especially if there's children involved, about what am I leaving behind? What do I stand to inherit? inherit. And what do I stand to inherit? What do others stand to inherit from me? So all of this is the theming under the second house and the eighth house. And that is happening. That is exactly where these planets are at the time of this new cycle beginning. So again, I think the next 2 years, we'll see a lot more of that on every different level about money. Now, equally as interesting, right? How everything's all connected. The nodes are going to shift into Taurus and Scorpio in January of 2022. Now the nodes move retrograde on that's how they normally move. So where all the other planets move forward until they're retrograde, the nodes of fate move backwards. So they're in Gemini and Sagittarius right now. And then in January, the North node will shift into Taurus and the South node will shift into Scorpio. Again, increase, release. Taurus is the sign of our resources, our finances, our money, our values, the financial systems. Scorpio is also the sign of other people's money and the deeper stuff when it comes to finances, stuff that is not always brought up to the light. It's not there readily visible to us, where the second house is more visible. Again, I'm not a financial predictive astrologer. There are many wonderful ones out there. I am not one of them, especially when it comes to the world. But I can tell you, when looking at personal transits and things of that nature in an individual's chart, I do see a lot and I do get a lot when it comes to this. But it's interesting to me, at any rate, that these nodes are about to shift into Taurus and Scorpio right at the height of this new Mars cycle. And we are hearing lots of rumbles about the financial system. So again, just another interesting tidbit of information that I found to be quite telling and indicative of what these next 2 years could potentially bring in on the global scale, also on the personal side. Now, to go back to the Mars cycle, the beginning of the Mars cycle, when Mars meets up with the sun, that is what starts this new 2 to 2.5 year cycle. When Mars met up with the sun in September of 2019, it lines up with Mercury and Venus. This time that Mars is lining up with the sun, he's lining up with Mercury again, and that's it. So just Mercury. And it's a triple conjunction, and that within itself is really not that rare, but they're all at 16 degrees. And so the degrees are equally as important about starting the cycle. Now, again, obviously Mercury moves very quickly. The planets move very quickly, but this is when the cycle kicks off. It's the energy that we are going to feel the most throughout this whole entire transit, both on the collective scale and then personally. I wanted to share with you the Sabian symbol for 16 degrees of Libra, because I find it really cool and important. Sabian symbols, long story short, this is, there's a prophetic insert for each degree of the zodiac for all 360 degrees. Dr. Edmund Jones, who is also an astrologer and a spiritualist, he put these together back in 1925, I think, with a clairvoyant woman named Elsie Wheeler, who was actually confined to a wheelchair and known for her, her prophetic visions. And she was very, very gifted. So he wrote, like, some of these have one word, and some of them have up to 21 words, okay, for each degree of the zodiac. And then Elsie, interpreted what she felt that to be. And again, these are written a very, very long time ago. So I just found the Libra one to be extremely interesting. So 16, oh, by the way, with the Sabian symbols, if this is something that you're interested in, you always round up. So even if a degree is like 16 degrees in 2 minutes, you're going to go up to 17 degrees with the Sabian symbols. It's only at that exact degree if it's at that exact degree. So this is 16 degrees that we're dealing with of the sun, Mercury, and Mars for this planetary alignment that kicks off this next cycle. So we're going to focus on the 16th degree. So the catchphrase, a boat landing washed away. This is a symbol of the superficially unfriendly relations which exist between man as a person and the totally impersonal forces of nature. The reversed symbolism emphasizes the cosmic integrity as a continual attempt on the part of its overall ordering to restore each phase of reality to pristine conditions. Here is not so much a thwarting of human effort as a stimulation to new accomplishment and a freedom from whatever has exceeded its usefulness. Implicit here is a challenge to pure individuality. The key word is respite. When positive, the degree is a joy in bringing every self-competence to the recurrent emergencies of life. And when negative, frustration as an excuse for inaction. You may have to go back and listen to that again, but I always find the deeper, more prophetic meaning in phrases like that. And these Sabian symbols are awesome. If you are more interested, you can go and check them out according to your birth chart, your sun, your moon, and your ascendant especially, and go by the degrees of that. It's pretty cool. Interestingly enough, when I started working with the Sabian symbols, of course, I started working with mine, and all three of my major placements, each symbol has something to do with aviation, which I always think is amazing because I definitely have some past life stuff around air travel and sorry to be whatever, but dying in a air crash. I know it for fact. But anyway, so it's interesting that my Sabian symbols all have something to do with aviation, but I'm not saying everyone's are going to be that, connected. But again, there's always this really interesting connection when you really go deep into it. So if you're interested in that, I highly recommend it. It's the Sabian symbols, Dr. Mark Edmund Jones. Okay, but back to the Mars cycle. So Mars, Mercury, and the Sun lining up at 16 degrees of Libra for this triple conjunction that kicks off this next cycle. So where will that be for you based upon your rising sign? If you are a Libra, or if you have any of your major planets or points in Libra or any of the other cardinal signs, it's Libra, Capricorn, Cancer, or Aries, then you are definitely going to feel this Mars and Libra transit the strongest. Now, on the positive side, it can give you a lot of extra energy and initiative and fuel to take action where you need to, especially on behalf of yourself, especially if there's been any injustices in your own life in any which way or whatever areas of your personal chart that this transit's going to fall into. You can get an extra push of energy, some positivity could be there for you. It could provide you the impetus that is needed to get you somewhere that you didn't have that energy available to you, let's say during the Mars and Virgo transit. Now on the shadow side, it can give you too much energy. Remember, Mars can spin us out. He can be very fast, very reactive, very hot-headed, and also could impulsive to the point that we can have an accident of some kind or do something, haphazardly. So again, a little extra awareness and balance being the key word, and knowing when to go inward and reassess before taking action is going to be really, really important under this Mars and Libra transit, especially for the cardinal signs, but overall and collectively for everybody. You also want to watch the areas of the body that Libra rules over, because those will fall into higher scrutiny and awareness under this transit. So Libra rules, the biggest one of all are the kidneys, the adrenal glands, the lower back. Think pears, eyes, ears, ovaries, all fall under Libra. But specifically the kidneys, the balancing of the fluids in the body, the excretion, all of this is under Libra. So if you already have some stuff going on in those areas, you're really gonna want to watch it under this transit. Specifically because Mars rules over inflammation. So he comes through and he can aggravate already existing conditions or kick something up that's not even there yet. So how do you combat that? Well, you try and eat anti-inflammatory foods as much as possible, and you try to manage your adrenals. And, remember, Mars is also physical activity and physical exertion. So incorporating physical activity when you have the energy to do so, but not pushing yourself to the point of total and utter exhaustion, because that is what brings upon adrenal fatigue. And that is exactly what we want to watch out for under this energy. It's not anything we want to add to the plate. So again, look into balancing your adrenals, taking care of the nervous system, the kidneys, supplementing where need be, and making sure, as I always say, to drink enough water so that the waste of the body is actually getting eliminated, what needs to be eliminated, the toxins, and also managing your stress levels are going to be very important under this energy. Always important, but more so under this particular Mars and Libra transit. Aries, sun, moon, rising. This conjunction will kick off in your 7th house. The 7th house is the house ruled by Libra. It is the natural house of partnerships, alliances, contracts, legalities, balance in relationships, balance in general, equality, giving and receiving. That's all the 7th house stuff, the Libra stuff, right? The 7th house rules over. For you, Aries, we got the Lovers, which is all about choice. Now, throughout this next 2-year cycle with Mars and Libra in your 7th house, I think a lot is going to come up to the surface for you about connections, both on the business and on the personal side. I actually feel like for Aries, this is more going to be personal than it is going to be business. And in some cases, those two can actually intertwine. So you may work with a family member and some stuff may come up in this next 2-year cycle in which you have to redo the paperwork or revise what you've already done, or maybe you want to get out of the business with them altogether or bring somebody new in. But a lot of your energy is going to be centered around alliances that you've already made previously. And in some cases, you want to sever them. And then in other cases, you want to bring in someone else. So there's going to be a lot of shifting and changing and balanced dynamics regarding contracts, business contracts, personal contracts that could potentially be interconnected in your reality. And also when it comes to your personal relationships, again, there's this sense of, some of you may be ending serious relationships. It's the Lovers. It's a major card. So this is all about, and it's also the 7th house, which is, contracts, and marriage is a contract. We've got people we do business with that are contracts. Anything legal, anything having to do with legal, your energy is definitely going to be more than likely concentrated into those areas of life. And because, again, we pulled the Lovers is a major card, and that depicts something that will completely change your trajectory. So for example, if you sever an important business contact or you end your relations with one person and start business with another, that's a big deal. That could change the trajectory of your life. Potentially you could move, because of it. If it's a relationship, if you're ending a marriage or a very long-term partnership under this energy, again, could change the trajectory of your life. The beauty in all of this, though, for Aries is that, Aries is a courageous sign. Aries does like to act and move, and they will typically do it when the time is right. And because it's the Lovers, remember, there is going to be this sense of, what would it look like if I do this? And what does it look like if I don't do this? And it's going to be a difficult decision, but eventually you will make that decision, more than likely under this 2-year Mars and Libra cycle. Taurus sun, moon, Taurus rising. What does this Mars and Libra 2-year cycle kick off for you? For Taurus, it's going to be in your 6th house. The 6th house is the house of health and healing and our physical body and our routines. And it's also what we do on the daily for service and work out in the world. And it's the people that we come into contact with. So what will this next 2-year cycle be for you, Taurus? It looks like you're going to be having some struggles, the 5 of Wands. Again, Mars is energy, wands are energy. So there's definitely going to be, Taurus is a sign that takes its time and is very methodical in its approach and slow in its nature and slow to make decisions. But under this particular transit, I actually feel like for Taurus, it's going to be a nice welcome change because you're actually going to have that push to act, like where you've been resting on your laurels. You're not going to be so content to do that anymore. Many of you may find yourself completely switching professions under this energy. And again, because of the cycle of Mars and Libra, it could be because you're not being treated fairly, or you want to go somewhere where there's more equality or where you feel more valued. Many of you may move under this transit, of course, switch location to get to somewhere that's more conducive to your future career or endeavors, but there's definitely going to be a lot of shifting and changing for Taurus under this Mars cycle. And you'll be actually initiating. So you won't just be waiting now. You've been waiting for the universe to bring you your gifts, or so you know which way to go next. But under this transit, you're going to get the push and actually do it yourself, Taurus. Gemini sun, moon, rising. This is going to fall in your 5th house of creative projects and children and fun and joy and pleasure and all those things that we do for fun, and also the inner child. So for Gemini, rising, sun, moon, for you, we have the 6 of Cups. So a lot coming up from the past under this transit for you, Gemini. And again, this is the 5th house. So, this represents children of either our own or other people's children, also our early childhood years and memories. So under this Mars and Libra transit, you may be very active in going back into your childhood, reliving the past, looking into the ways in which maybe you don't allow yourself to fully express yourself, or maybe you've kind of lost some of that spark or some of that gusto for life. And so this particular transit could bring you into situations with like-minded friends or groups or other people that you're reconnecting with from a long time ago that you've lost touch with, that can really fill your heart and fill your soul. There's a sense of nostalgia that comes with this. That 6 of Cups, this is all about, past soulmates coming back into your life in the form of friends, pets. Everybody can be a soulmate. It doesn't have to be lovers. It can be friends. It can be family. It can be animals, children, neighbors, anybody that comes into your reality with almost like an angelic presence, or they bring you somewhere and they bring you back to your roots. They bring you back to your childhood in a way and help you to recreate some fun. And also they spark your creative projects, these new people, or I should say old people, because a lot of this does feel past life driven for the Gemini folks. So anyway, this is a potentially very nice transit for you, but it may also coerce a lot of memories that you've long since tried to bury about inadequacy, feelings of inadequacy. So that could come up as well. Also under this energy, you can find yourself really wanting to get involved in talk therapy or group therapy, something that can help you bring things up so that you can clear them for once and for all and move forward. So you're definitely going to be more cognizant and recognizing more of perhaps where things from your past have really shaped the way that you are and the way that you have fun or the way that you don't have fun. Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising for you. This triple conjunction will kick off in your 4th house. The 4th house is the natural home of Cancer. It is the house of our foundations, our roots, our lineage, our ancestry. It is our internal and external security or lack thereof. So with Mars and Libra here, you could potentially move or do some home improvements or finally put some action towards areas involving your living situation or even your family. You could find out some information or go seeking information on your lineage. This could be a time of DNA testing or ancestry.com. You may feel more called towards that than normal, trying to get to the bottom of things having to do with family. Because it's Mars, you could also argue with people that involved in the home or within family. So watch out for that. Mars is always a little bit of a combative energy. And remember, in Libra, it does get frustrated. So you may feel more frustration than normal within the 4th house matters. And you've got the Wheel of Fortune here. So this is all about taking chances. When it comes to, I feel for the Cancers, it's more about the living situation and also taking chances to find things out. So maybe you feel like you have a cousin that you want to reconnect with, but you're afraid to because there's been family dynamics that have stopped you from connecting, fighting or whatnot. This will be the time where you would feel pulled to really go into that and explain or talk to this person or maybe try to see both sides because it's Mars and Libra and it's all about balance and power dynamics and equality. So you can find yourself actually mending fences with somebody in the family that you have not spoken with for a very long time, or you find somebody new that you're connected to family-wise that you just really gel with and you work together on creating equal dynamics within the family. So there's many different ways that this can manifest for you, Cancer. But bottom line is it's probably a good time to take some chances to make things better within the home life, within the family, and within the living situation. Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising. For you, this conjunction will take place in your 3rd house. This is the 3rd house of communication, short distance travel, siblings, cousins, people that are like siblings, the way that we communicate. There could be a lot of energy focused on communication skills here, Leo, and also justice and equality and equal rights for all. You want to watch out on the shadow side of Mars and Libra going here when it comes to especially social media, going into verbal spats with people when you're trying to assert your opinion. It's not necessarily something you need to be getting yourself involved in. Maybe journal it, keep it to yourself to avoid conflict, because this is definitely, I could see a lot of like verbal lashing out coming through here. And it could also even be with siblings. It could also be with people that are like your siblings. Your desire is going to be to want to communicate your point at all costs. And at times, it's going to serve you well to just hang back, because remember, this is a time where people are contentious and everyone is looking for a fight. And here we have the King of Cups for Leo. So King of Cups, it's a water sign. And, water signs tend to be more internal. They're more receptive. They're more feminine than masculine. So it's yin energy versus yang energy. And so what this could be saying for you, Leo, is that, like I just mentioned, to really honor your sensitivity level and really acknowledge others' sensitivity levels when you're dealing with people, especially when it comes to situations where you could be on a different side or a different viewpoint than they are. Because again, there's going to just be this essence of you wanting to get your point across at all costs. And this transit could serve you well. You could learn to be a little bit less bold. Being bold is a beautiful thing, right? Being courageous is a beautiful thing. And speaking your truth, I'm never going to say don't speak your truth. Leo is a sign that loves to have its creative self-expression. However, you want to read the crowd. You want to read the room. You want to make sure that you're not precipitating unnecessary conflict and drama and aggravation and agitation, especially when it comes to people that you deal with more regularly, such as siblings or cousins or neighbors. Because again, you could find yourself on the shadow side of this transit really getting tense and combative with those in your life, especially when it comes to world issues. Virgo, sun, moon, rising. For you, this conjunction will take place in your second house. This is the house of your money, your resources, your self-worth, your value, what you love, what you find pleasurable and pleasing, because it's the house ruled by Venus. So this is always going to be what we like. We want to bring in what we like. And with Mars in Libra kicking off this cycle for you, you're going to feel this initiative to really want to get your money together and to really want to get your money straight and to really want to get everything right and have everything working for you. You know, Virgo is a sign that does very well with routines and structure and order. So you may find that you're putting your money into order much more so than normal under this transit, under this next 2-year cycle. Four of Wands speaks to stability. And again, Wands are action. Mars is action. So you will be taking actions towards stability of financial and also potentially, you know, what you value, your resources. So you may be buying a home under this transit. You may be looking to purchase a home or sell a home. Real estate transactions. The second house is also real estate. That's a real estate looking card. So again, there could be also solidifying of relationships for you under this transit, Virgo. You could find yourself, you know, if you have a live-in partner, maybe now's the time you go and actually finalize the contract and get married, or just move in together or set up a whole new cycle for your future. This is a pretty future-orientated transit for you, Virgo. But on the shadow side, you want to make sure that you don't argue with those people that could be involved in those areas of your life. So just make sure you keep the lines of communication open and that you're also open to others' points of view, because Virgo can be, on its worst days, quite critical, not only of the self, but of others. So you want to make sure that you're really taking your time to understand if you're acting out of the old space or if you're trying to, you know, if you're really bringing in something that's going to be best for your growth, overall growth for you and for the people involved. Libra, Libra rising, Libra sun, Libra moon. This cycle will kick off for you in your first house. The first house is the house of the self. It's the way you present your face to the world. So for you under this new cycle that's kicking off, there could be a lot of energy funneled into how others perceive you, and maybe in ways in which you've shown yourself to be one way and now you're recognizing that you're not representing yourself properly, and you want to make sure that the others, 7th house is your opposite, the others are going to see you for who you truly are and not necessarily for who you want them to see you as. There's a bit of projection that could be going on here, as Libra is the sign of the other. It's also relationships and contracts and one-on-ones. So again, there's something here about projected personality versus your real personality. Not that your personality is fake, but it could be a way in which you're being seen that you want to shift that dynamic. And then also in relationships, it could be that you want to shift the dynamic within the relationships or work differently in those relationships. The flip side of that is that people could be coming at you wanting to change the dynamic of these relationships, not being happy with the way that things are going. And the ultimate end game is balance for the Libras. You got the same card as Aries, the 9 of Wands. So, which I find very interesting because you're the two opposite signs of each other, the mirror. So this is mirroring back a lot of what we said during Aries is also going to be for Libra. Scorpio, Scorpio sun, moon, rising. For you, this conjunction will take place in your 12th house. 12th house is the hidden house. It's a psychological water house. So we definitely could be feeling this push to unpack a lot of our psychological stuff that we've kept in the closet or hidden, even sometimes tucked away from our own self, because we just, for whatever the reason, it's there. We don't necessarily want to deal with it, lean into it, look at it. With this Mars and Libra transit, you could find yourself really wanting to lean into it. You can find yourself getting angry at where people have done you wrong. Maybe you find something out that really pisses you off under this time period. Maybe you're the one that does something that pisses someone else off. But again, there could be this feeling of the Martian energy, the Mars energy being funneled into actions being taken on your behalf to clear your name, or actions taken on your behalf where you're not doing something in the highest integrity towards another. But just be mindful of that, because what is done in the dark is always brought out into the light. And that is definitely something that this Mars and Libra transit is indicative of for Scorpio energy. Let's get you a card. You have the Judgment card. This is another major arcana. So the Judgment card, Judgment is ruled by Pluto. Pluto rules Scorpio. It's the modern day ruler of Scorpio. So again, there's this essence and this element of death and transformation and rebirth when it comes to the Scorpio energy. And the 12th house is about all of that. So lots of change, lots of transformation. A lot of it can be on an internal personal level. You will be feeling compelled to dive into your compulsions, to change things, to redirect your energy for better relationships, things being brought up to the light, into the light of day for transcendence and growth. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. For you, this will be taking place in your 11th house. It will actually kick the cycle off, I should say, in your 11th house. The 11th house is the house of group consciousness. This is the house of a humanitarian. This is the house of online endeavors and innovation. So again, friendships also fall under the 11th house. So for Sagittarius, there's going to be a lot of energy focused into these situations in life and action here. So you may become an activist. You may be part of a group which you're working towards a common goal. You may be putting this energy into your friendships, making them more expansive, making them more fun-loving, potentially even excavating and releasing friendships that are no longer serving your soul or serving your growth. Same thing with groups that you're a part of. This could be a great time of online creative projects for you, Sagittarius. Travel could become prominent for you here as well, or the desire to do so. For you, we got the 5 of Cups. Very emotional. So again, for Sagittarius, this is all about looking to the future, looking at what's ahead of you, but don't focus so much on what's behind you. Don't focus so much on what you've lost. Focus more on what you have to gain. Focus more on the future and the emotional fulfillment that you can have when you cut toxicity and negativity out of your life, or when you yourself, lean into relationships that are good for you that you've been maybe previously avoiding out of fear. So there's a lot here to be said about positive group engagement for the Sagittarius once they recognize and release what is not working for them. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising. For you, this conjunction will kick off a cycle in your 10th house. The 10th house is the house of your public image, your career, your reputation, the legacy that you wish to leave behind in the world, your public face, what you're known for, your most public persona, public part of your life, the sector of your life that's very public, what you're known for. So with Mars and Libra here, you want to be known for something. You want to act out of integrity, and you want to be known for something that you could potentially leave behind in a positive manner, changing the world in some capacity, finding ways to bring people together and fight for a cause, fight for something that you believe in. Your energy is going to really be concentrated in that area of life, Capricorn. You are definitely going to desire to be seen, heard, and known. King of Pentacles. So funny because this is the Capricorn card. Pentacles are Earth, the suit of Earth. King of Pentacles would be a Capricorn energy. And, again, value. Think about it. You want to bring in, you're going to have your energy focused on something of value. It's mostly going to be in the realm of objective items. It's not going to be really in relationships, although Libra does, of course, rule over relationships in a way, but it's not that for you, Capricorn. I feel like this is more about what you're going to build, what you're going to leave behind, what you're going to represent to the world, something that you're working on, an invention of some kind. Yes, of course, that could involve other people. It could involve a partner, and it can involve a contract. But ultimately, it's about what are you going to be known for, and what's the face that you're going to put out into the world, and what are you going to leave behind. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. This conjunction will kick off in your 9th house. The 9th house is the house of travel, long distance travel, higher learning, education, philosophy, expansion of the mind, body, spirit, learning new things, spirituality. So your energy will really be focused into potentially your belief system could be changing, your views on the world could be changing. You could be desiring more fairness and justice and equality amongst groups and amongst your peers, because remember, that's what Libra is all about. And Aquarius is an air sign, just like Libra. So you're definitely going to be feeling like no matter what happens, you want things to be fair, and you want people to see things from a different perspective, the way that you're seeing it. And you want people to be more open-minded and willing to change. And you're definitely focused on the people. Aquarius is always focused on the people. But during this Mars and Libra cycle, you're really going to be very invested in what's fair and what's right and what's equal for all. Let's get your card, Aquarius. And you got the World. A lot of the major cards. So the World is all about a wrap up of energy. It's a new cycle ending and another one begin. It's a cycle ending and a new one beginning. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. Traditionally, Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn rules this World card. So again, there's this element of beginning something new, ending the old and beginning the new, coming full circle. You can't end one thing without another. And I think that a lot of Aquarian energy is going to find themselves to be the eternal student under this Mars and Libra transit. And you're going to like it. You're really going to enjoy it. Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising. This conjunction will kick off in your 8th house. The 8th house is a very private, personal, emotional space and place where we don't always let everybody in. You're definitely going to be feeling with this Mars and Libra transit the next 2 years, like you want to unpack a lot of your old beliefs, your old habits, the things that have been keeping you down, the things that are very psychologically ingrained that you might not have always wanted to look at, but you've known that they've been there. You're going to feel a push. You're going to definitely want to go in there and excavate. You're going to want to feel your way around the darkness, and you're going to want to bring things up from the light into the light. You're going to want to clean away the cobwebs. This could be a time of going into, intense therapy of some sort if you've been on the fence and wanting to do that, because you really do want to be even and level in every which way possible. And then again, in the realm of your relationships, you're looking to go deeper with the people in your life. You really want to get to the bottom of things. Superficiality just won't have a place for you under this transit. And you're definitely going to be feeling the active pulse and push to go into these connections with more, Pisces energy is a feeler, right? It's very empathetic and compassionate. But with this transit, you're going to feel more probing. Like you're going to not have as hard of a time going into people's spaces. You're going to just be more direct about it. And you're just going to ask flat out the questions that need to be asked so that you can determine what connections carry the most weight for you in this lifetime and which ones can be released. Now, you're going to have some anxiety during this transit because you're doing things that are counterintuitive to who you truly are at the soul level. You're normally one to allow things to be and allow people to be. And, if it isn't broke, you aren't going to fix it. But this Mars and Libra transit through the 8th house for you, Pisces, is going to make you want to do a lot more thinking, less escaping, and more leaning into it and transcending the situations in your life. You're going to definitely want to get things right as you move into the next cycle. Now, remember with these readings, the conjunction will take place in the house that I just mentioned for each sign, by the rising sign, using the whole house system. However, that doesn't mean that this is going to be the whole next 2 years for you, because obviously the planets move and they move pretty quickly. This just is where the cycle starts. So typically, when the cycle starts here, think about that 16th degree Sabian symbol we spoke about earlier, about the boat landing being washed away. So something is being washed away for you likely in the areas of life that we just spoke about by your rising sign. And again, this is a process where you would be the one putting your energy towards that because it's Mars. So this can just show you a glimmer or a piece of what you might potentially experience. It doesn't mean you're absolutely going to experience it that way, but this is just by the signs and by where they are placed in the realm of the zodiac at the time of this conjunction. Now, also remember, Mars gifts us with energy. He gives us drive, he gives us force. And so also he's equally, again, keyword on equally giving you this gift of assertion and action and will and drive, or at least the potential to have it. Again, not just in those areas, but overall in general, specifically though, in those areas that we just spoke about by your rising sign. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy this content. Again, my Mercury retrograde video through the signs is linked below. Also, my new moon video that takes place on October 6th. New moon takes place on October the 6th, so you may want to check that out as well. Lisa Salvatore, and I will be back with another video soon. Take care, guys.